What's up, everybody? Welcome into the holiday edition of the Bourbon, Buzzed, and Ballin podcast. This is episode 22.
Double deuce.
And this is our podcast. We're your hosts, Kolby and Dut. And as you know or may not know, I'm not sure if you're new to our podcast, we just shoot the shit on sports. And, of course, we're drinking some bourbon along the way. And at the end of this podcast, as well as every other podcast, we always rate some bourbon.
That's right. We've been rating the Horse Soldier line. We did the first two the last 2 weeks, and we'll hit the third one this week and see how that one does.
Yeah.
And that's a strong one.
All right, well,
121 proof.
I'll need to pace myself then, so I'm not incredibly drunk or tipsy by the end of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's called Bourbon, Buzzed, and Ballin' for a reason.
There you go. Hey, that might bring out some controversial topics or discussions for sure. So
It could.
What you got? What you want to talk about tonight?
Well, let's start out with our opening toast like we always do, and
probably got the same opening toast.
Obviously, the big event that just went down was Lionel Messi and Argentina winning the World Cup. So that puts him in the GOAT conversation.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely have him in my GOAT conversation.
I mean, you got Pele has got to be in that discussion,
and then of course his shadow. He's been in the shadow of Diego Maradona.
Yeah. And Ronaldo to a degree. I don't think he quite has the resume as Messi.
I mean, it depends on which sort of event you look at, of course. But Ronaldo worldwide has a pretty handsome resume as well. But I would have worn my Argentina jersey tonight. I actually have an Argentina jersey, but it was bought a few years ago, so it don't quite fit.
A little snug. Was that a few bourbons ago?
Yeah, a few bourbons and a few pretzels.
Well, I did see where like Fanatics and all the sporting goods, they were just loading up with the Messi gear, and even before the finals were played, they were rushed out to get that stuff to market because it was selling like hotcakes, flying off the shelf. But I mean, the game itself, you've always been a soccer fan. Yeah. I'm kind of growing into it, and I usually only watch these bigger events.
Right.
But boy, was that game entertaining.
I mean, it's definitely part of my conversation for tonight, so I don't want to dig.
Man, let's conversate about it right now.
Let's do it.
While we're talking about Messi and Argentina. I know this is the opening toast portion, but hey, it's our podcast.
Yes.
While we're talking about it,
do what we want, right?
Let's do it.
I mean, I think you just mentioned it. It was, if you're a non-football or soccer fan, you had to have been moved by that game.
Well, the first half, I thought it was going to
be a blowout.
I thought France was a no-show. I mean, the whole first half seemed like it was played in the French end.
It was
2-0.
They couldn't control the ball. I think the strategy was incorrect. France immediately went to some first half subs,
which is
ultimately,
unusual.
Well, yeah, very unusual. But ultimately, I think it cost them
in the shootout.
Because you brought in so much youth. But
and just the opposite of that, exactly. Argentina subbed right at the end of extra time to get the fresh kickers in there for the shootout.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, there was it was definitely France was outcoached.
Yeah,
plain and simple. But one thing back on Messi, that I've obviously you just mentioned it. I've always watched soccer, having kind of grown up playing it, and I'm a huge English Premier League fan, and so Messi though, this his ability, it's almost like he sees a pass 10 minutes before it even gets to him. It's like the way he sees the field is just different.
Well, and also it seems like his dribbling to me is so much better, and I was wondering, is it because he's short and stocky that he's kind of like Emmitt Smith was in football.
Sure, it has a little bit to do with the length of your legs and having the ability to move in and out of traffic like he does. Mbappe is.
I mean, a hat trick.
Yeah, I mean, he's got those kind of footwork abilities as well, and then
Right.
elite top end speed. But he's a cherry picker to me, you know. Whereas Messi plays the whole field, Mbappe's a cherry picker, you know. But that's sort of the way France wants him to play.
Right. He's playing with their scheme.
But Messi's he's just different.
Yeah.
He's just different.
That's probably the most I've ever watched Messi play. Yeah.
I mean, all of his passes are just so succinct. You know, they're like it's like watching Tua. Well, Tua a few weeks ago,
4 weeks ago,
not Tua of late. But it's like watching, you know, your favorite, you know, good quarterback who throws receivers in stride, throws them open.
Yeah.
Messi's the same way. I mean, he puts the ball on the right foot.
Yeah.
If it's a left-footed, you know, winger or a right-footed winger, he's still putting it on the right foot.
Well, there was one time in that game where he put a pass right on his teammate, and if his teammate would have one-timed it, it was a goal. But his teammate was shuffling around, setting up the shot, and by that time it was too late. And I was thinking, man, and I don't even know anything about soccer, but I was like, man, if you would have one-timed that would have been a goal.
That second Argentina goal, the second one when they went up 2-0. That was a one-time lesson. I mean, it was like 3 one-timers in a row.
Right.
Because one-timers, like in hockey.
Yeah, exactly.
One-timers are brutal to defend.
And that's what I thought that the other one where the guy didn't do the one-timer.
It is. It makes a difference.
You can't give that goalie time to set up.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, just that was such a man. Just the stakes involved, the history of the World Cup. You can see the excitement. You can see what it means to the world.
Right.
You know, it's different. It's just different. And when you live outside the country and you've been involved in World Cup as far as watching it in and among, you know, foreigners who that is such their life.
Well, it is truly a world competition. You know, like
it is.
Our MLB World Series, it's not a World Series.
No,
it's the MLB Championship.
Yeah, it's a little presumptuous to call it a World Series or the Super Bowl. You know,
well, I don't even have a problem with Super Bowl because I mean,
you're not saying we refer to them as world champions.
You do refer to them as world champions.
That, you know, the outside the U.S. they take exception to that. But back on the World Cup, you know, just I mean, like you said, you thought France was out of it, but those tactical switches they made and those subs they made a huge difference, and you could just see the momentum switch. And it was that relentless effort to me out of France, which I was so glad because it was boring to me at the half.
I went outside and did some yard work.
You did some yard work?
A little bit.
All right, I hear you.
And then I came in right before Mbappe's first goal. So I mean, I timed it. I guess you could say perfectly.
Yeah, it was good. But I mean, it was really. I mean, and ironically, those two guys play on the same club team together. Imagine that.
Yeah.
But it was kind of.
How does that team ever lose?
I know. It was kind of cool to watch two of the world's greatest players just refuse to let their team lose.
Right.
Because, you know, Mbappe made his. He's the only one that made his kick.
Right.
So, you know.
I mean, he put the ball in the net 4 times in that game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he did all he could do.
Yeah, it was definitely exciting. The soccer was exciting, you know. Unfortunately, you know, for the U.S., you know, we came up short. And then for England, which is truly my favorite team, but we came up short.
Well, I thought as a consolation, you know, you'd be happy that they won the Fair Play Award.
Oh yeah, that's wonderful. Wonderful. Fair play. England, man.
Is that like a participation award?
Yeah, that's like Miss Congeniality and Miss America, you know. It's like
thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for showing up. A for effort. Now England, man, England tears you know, the English people, it tears their soul, man, that they choke in the World Cup. And I mean, Harry Kane, he choked. I mean, I hate to say it because that's my English Premier team is the Hotspurs, and Harry Kane is their player. He's our player.
Just a little high.
Yeah, he choked. But the World Cup was great. The only thing I didn't like about the World Cup was the location.
Yeah.
Qatar.
Well, and then did you see they made Messi cover up to accept the trophy?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see that.
Yeah, they made him cover up his Argentina shirt.
He had that shirt on.
Yep.
I knew he had a controversial slogan or something on his shirt.
I didn't get into the detail. I just noticed that they made him cover it up.
No, but the attendance was horrible. I mean, it was basically a lesson in economics. I mean, Qatar's the richest country in the world.
Right.
They bought that World Cup, and I mean, FIFA, you should have been my scumbag. I almost made FIFA my scumbag for allowing a country like Qatar to host such a big event.
I mean, you couldn't even get a beer.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It was just really crazy, and I'm kind of glad it in a way it bombed.
But here, I got another crazy thing for you. So Drake, the singer rapper, he bet $1 million for Argentina to win, and lost the bet.
And lost the bet.
Yeah, because he didn't bet it to win. It didn't include extra time or shootout.
Oh, wow.
So he lost the $1 million bet because they had to win it in regulation, which was looking good at 2-0.
Right.
But wouldn't that suck? Bet $1 million for the team to win. The team wins, and you still lose the bet.
That's a crazy ass small print there, bookie small print.
Yeah, that is. That's crazy. So yeah, okay. You got anything else on the World Cup?
Just conclude that hopefully FIFA learns their lesson. Because I know the U.S., Australia, who else is involved in the next one? I can't remember the third country who's up there. I mean, Japan, I think. Those countries deserve the World Cup over Qatar.
Right.
I mean, and the fact that it really technically flopped, even though we were treated to good soccer.
Right.
It flopped.
So they don't know where the next one will be yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
I mean, they might know, but it hasn't been announced.
Oh, okay. Because I know, like with the Super Bowls and the Olympics and stuff like that, there's usually 2 or 3 in advance.
No, it hasn't been announced yet where they're going to put it. It's 2028 is the next one.
No, it should be in 4 years, isn't it?
2026. Yeah, 2026.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's every 4 years, duh.
All right. Well, before we raise our glass, I did want to mention 2 more names, which we talked about them last week also.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But the Pirate, Coach Leach, unfortunately, didn't make it through the heart attack. So he lost his life, and sad to see him go. He was such a great guy for college football.
Yeah, unique character for sure.
Well loved in the coaching community. I was glad to see they promoted his DC.
Yeah, that
Mississippi
was
State.
good.
I think they made a good move.
I do too.
Promoting Zach Arnett. So
keep their class intact too, probably.
Yeah. So our condolences to the Leach family.
Yeah.
And I know that extends to his players and assistant coaches and just everybody that knew him.
Widely considered an offensive genius.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think the play on the field translated to offensive genius. I guess it did at Texas Tech a little bit.
And Washington State.
Yeah, I mean, he had some good offensive numbers for sure.
Yeah, it didn't quite ever take off in Mississippi State like I expected it to.
Yeah, I think a lot of people expected that to turn into a tough game for a lot of people in the West.
Yeah, so Coach Leach will be missed, and then Alex Ovechkin, he got his 800th, which he did it in grand style. Got a hat trick to get to 800 against the Blackhawks, Chicago. He got it against, and so he's one shy, of tying Gordie Howe, who's at 801. And he's 94 shy of Gretzky.
Oh, that was last night then, wasn't it?
No, he actually has the last 2 games he's gone goalless.
Oh, okay. I thought the Blackhawks.
No, the Rangers played the Blackhawks last night.
Oh, okay. It was then it was Friday night.
Yeah, and they beat them 7-1. The Rangers
the Rangers beat
the Blackhawks 7-1.
Oh, okay.
Just saying.
Since
you brought it up.
Not that you're a Rangers fan.
No, not that I watched all 7 goals or anything, but Anyway, so anybody else you wanted to add in?
No, that's good toast.
Okay, so Messi, Argentina, Coach Leach, grade 8 Ovechkin. Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
What you partaking of this evening?
What am I partaking of?
I didn't necessarily see you. I did. I think you poured the Russell Reserve.
Yeah, the Russell Reserve 10.
Yeah, the one
10-year.
Yeah, the one we rated a few shows back. Good value on that.
Yeah,
that's
real good value.
Good value on that bourbon. Good taste. So that's a good one.
What'd we rate that?
I want to say we gave it a 3.
Did we give it a 3?
I thought we did.
All right. Well, I give it a 3 tonight because it tastes really good.
Yeah. Let me jump down here real quick.
Smooth. It's smooth. Not a big hug. Got nice.
Russell Reserve. We gave it a 3.
Got a real strong nose to it. I really like it. It's a good bourbon. How about you? What you got?
Since I went, it's a Christmas episode, holiday episode. I got on my bourbon Buffalo Trace ugly sweater.
Ugly sweater.
So I had to match it up with some Buffalo Trace.
There you go.
Bourbon.
You like that?
Oh,
So that's just plain beef Buffalo Trace?
Yeah, just plain old Buffalo Trace.
Sweet.
And which we've never rated it
Buffalo
on the
Trace.
show.
Look. My boy here got
Ping,
your
ping,
sweater
ping.
on, drinking your drink, saying your name.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. That's good.
Yep.
So let's get into some scumbag talk.
You want to talk about some scumbags?
Yeah, there seem to be a lot to choose from.
Apparently it's MMA season out there for scumbags.
Well, you got a few, don't you?
I got 3 that I want to talk about.
All right, well, let me go first then.
Go ahead.
My scumbag's local to the Charlotte market, and my scumbag of the week are the Panthers PSL owners.
Well, what'd they do?
They suck. Panther fans, you guys suck. I'm a Vikings fan, which last year at the Vikings game, we took over Panther Stadium. I'm a Panthers fan, B, because I live here. I want the Panthers to succeed.
I'd imagine it was a Steelers home game yesterday.
Man, it was gross. I mean, truly, the Panthers offense had to overcome the Steelers fans in their own stadium.
Yeah,
so you can imagine what that must be like to the Panthers players to run out and all you see is a sea of black and gold or whatever team we're playing against.
Right.
If you go to a Commanders game, it's basically garnet and gold. Is that their colors, garnet and gold? Is that what they call them?
I think that's what they call them.
Vikings game. Of course, the Cowboys go all
Cowboys
over
travel
the place.
everywhere, pretty much.
Giants.
Yeah.
Go to a Giants game. But anyway, Panthers PSL owners, I understand. I get it that you've invested a lot of money in those tickets. I get it. But it shouldn't be as an investment. You buy those tickets because you're a fan.
Right.
Go to the effing games. Show up in your Panthers gear. I went to last year to the Vikings game. Now, mind you, I wore my Vikings gear.
Right.
But I'm a Vikings fan. But I saw Panthers fans in there, not even dressed up in Panthers gear. And, if you want this team to succeed, the fan base is a big part of it. Home field advantage is important.
And I think that a lot of that stems from Charlotte being a melting pot.
Yeah, sure.
There's not a lot of homegrown people around here. It's a lot of transplants. A lot of people that have moved here from up north. So that's why you got the Steelers fans, the Giants fans.
I know too
there's
many.
Not they started as an expansion team, so they're a lot of people that were already here had already formed allegiances to another team.
I got you.
So I'm not trying to defend them.
No. We should banter back and forth.
Yeah. But
I still think Panther PSL owners suck because I know most of them. The ones I know, I got about 50-50. 50% of them buy it for an investment and sell it to the first come.
Right.
And it's generally a fan base of another of the opposing team
from the other team.
And then I do have some PSL fans, I won't mention names, that I know are Panthers fans and show up and root the team on.
Right.
But, it's in 2015 with Superman, with with the run that the Panthers had, it was a home field advantage.
Right.
So quit being fair weather fans.
Yep.
Quit being fair weather fans because you actually have a team, albeit the NFC South sucks.
Right, but they're right there.
One game out.
If they would have had some fan support yesterday and beat Pittsburgh, who
they
legitimately could have beat them.
Same record.
Yeah, exactly.
And they got whipped up front on both sides of the ball. But like I said, a lot of that on third downs, on first downs, they were overcoming their own stadium.
You know what? I'm jumping on that bandwagon, the PSL owners, because that cost me my fantasy game this week. Dante Foreman with 1 point.
Man, the Panthers' O-line, as good as it's been, they were dominated yesterday. Pittsburgh dominated both fronts.
Yeah.
I don't think the Panthers are a playoff team. But
no.
Who in the NFC South is? Nobody really is.
There's going to be 3 or 4 playoff teams that don't really deserve to be playoff. I mean, it looks like with that win last night, the Giants are going to get in. They're not a playoff team. The Redskins or the Lions. Actually, to me, the Lions look more like a playoff team than the Redskins do, than the Giants do, than the Buccaneers do, than the Panthers. Any of these other teams.
Oh, I think absolutely they're probably one of the hottest teams on.
Yeah, they're one of the teams that the Cowboys or
they're not going to want to play.
They're not going to want to see
the
Lions because that's a scary team,
and they're starting. They got weapons, man.
They're starting to peak, so
they got weapons for sure.
Yeah,
I definitely think the Lions are definitely a team.
I think they get in.
With.
I think if you ask me right now, what's my prediction for the playoffs in the NFC? My wild cards would be the Cowboys, the Giants, and the Lions. And the only reason I say the Giants is because they pulled off that win last night.
I mean, what are they, 8-5?
They're 8-5-1.
Yeah, I forgot the 1. Yeah, no, that's a strong record in the NFC.
I mean, they're guaranteed a winning record.
Yeah, that's a strong record.
Or at least let me say they're guaranteed a 500 record.
Because honestly, I guess since we're breaking into it, we just talking.
Oh, we're just gonna bounce all over the place.
Yeah, let's just bounce. What was I gonna say now? Where's my notes? I forget now. I guess I missed it. Honestly, Philly, Minnesota, and San Fran. In Minnesota, I'm still iffy on them.
I mean, you're down 33 points to a very bad Colts team.
I know
that lost the best player on their team. They lost him on the first play of the game.
Right. It's a hell of a comeback.
It was, and I was gonna.
But I agree. I mean, I just can't get on board with my Vikings.
It just seems like, I mean, now they're 10-0 in one-score games.
Yeah.
But that's not going to fly in the playoffs.
No.
It might get you through that first home playoff game, but after that, because they're probably going to wind up playing either the Giants or.
But as you know, quarterback play is what wins it to me in the playoffs. So I mean, I think obviously Philly is the front runner in the NFC. I mean, they just look sound on all parts.
Well, they can beat you in so many ways.
Exactly.
I mean, even. Yesterday, I was trying to think what day it is. We're taping on Monday. This was yesterday. Jalen started out throwing to the wrong team.
Right. He had a rough first half. He ran it well.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. Their defense is so stout that they can hold the other team down while the offense figures it out. Are we going to be a running team this week? Or are we going to be a passing team this week? But they. 1 week they'll rush for 300 yards. The next week they'll throw for 300 yards. That will play against anybody.
Sure.
And there's not many teams that can say Buffalo. But their running game, although Singletary did better. Saturday night.
Their running game is gotten a lot better over the last 3 weeks.
But a lot of their running game is their quarterback, which which is good, but also not necessarily great because he's one hit away from being hurt, and then you're done.
Yeah, I mean, thing about Buffalo is they're built for playoff time. They're built for cold weather games, and they're looking like they're going to have some home field advantage. That's going to be crucial.
Oh yeah.
Of course, KC's built for it too. And then I got Cincinnati, man. Cincinnati is hot. Joe Burrow is now throwing his name in the MVP race.
Yep.
So
I still say don't sleep on Miami though, because if that offense is rolling in sync, they proved they could go to Buffalo and compete. Yeah, they came up short, but they proved. I mean, they were winning with all the way up until I think it was about 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They had the lead, and Tyreek and one of their other wide receivers both dropped a touchdown pass.
Right.
So if one of them catches that touchdown, who knows?
Right.
So I mean, I think Detroit and Miami are going to be that wild card team that nobody really wants. They're going to be when the matchups come out and they don't get either one of those teams, they're going to feel a little sense of relief.
Kind of glad we don't have to.
Exactly. Let somebody else deal with those guys.
Campbell and his boys. Yeah. No. I think Buffalo, KC, Cincy certainly cleared their way in the AFC. So it'd be interesting. But I really like. All of those AFC teams, they're built for cold weather.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. All right, well, let's get back on track here with the scumbags. Because I had a couple.
Oh, yeah, you do have a couple.
I had a couple I wanted to mention. Like I said, it's MMA season for former athletes. So, first one, Amari Stoudemire. He was arrested for domestic abuse. So, he allegedly punched and slapped his daughter. When the cops arrived, they found bloodstains on her clothes, her shirt, and her pants. He actually told the cops that his daughter received a whooping from him for being disrespectful and a liar. So he pretty much admitted to laying hands on her.
Right.
If you're drawing, I'm all for, disciplining your kids.
Drawing blood.
Drawing blood's that's taking it to a whole nother. Closed fist versus.
How old is his daughter?
It didn't say which one it was. He's got multiple daughters, and it didn't say which one it was.
Yeah, I didn't really read. I read the headline. Amari Stoudemire, what is he? 6 foot?
He's
9?
about 7. He's pushing 7 foot.
So he's right at 7 foot.
I think he was 6'11", maybe.
Well built.
Oh,
he wasn't overweight. He was
250, 260.
Yeah, 260, 260 something. Yeah. That's a big man.
Big man, and that was his defense. I'm pushing 7 feet tall. I wouldn't, and I'm a religious person. I wouldn't lay hands on my daughter, but. Apparently, the daughter sent pictures to her mama, who he's not with, and so it doesn't look good for Amari. But and get this: this happened Saturday, hours after he graduated from the U. He graduated from Miami with his master's degree.
How about that?
And then just a few hours later, he gets arrested for hitting his daughter.
He didn't play at Miami, did he? Played it.
I don't remember where he played,
Arizona, I think.
Yeah, it was.
I feel like he was
somewhere out west.
Arizona,
like that.
something like that. But
of course, you may be thinking about the time he was with the Phoenix Suns.
That's true. That's true. Not really an NBA.
But no, I just know he went for his post grad.
Gotcha. Well, you got to be able to You got to be able to whip your kids, man. You got to keep them in.
I agree. I think that's part of the problem with kids today. Is there's not enough discipline. But like I said, you got. There's a line that you don't cross.
Yeah, exactly. Drawing blood on your kid.
Well, and it was all in the facial area. Whack that butt. You ain't got to punch him in the face and draw blood.
Right. No, it's crazy.
But, okay, so that was one of the former athletes arrested for assault. The other one was Willie McGinnis, the former Patriot linebacker. And they've actually got video of this one, TMZ, of course, who gets all the dirt on everybody. It was at a nightclub. He entered in with his entourage, and they go up to a table where a guy's sitting there and lean in and tell him something, and then they just grab him and start wailing on him. And then at the end, you see Willie with a bottle in his hand hitting the guy in the head with a bottle.
Wow.
Now, he did turn himself in, and this actually took place over a week ago.
Is he still an analyst? I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, I hadn't seen him this year, but because it seems like I remember seeing him on the NFL Network
Yeah, I might have to look that up because
And so
I don't recall having seen
yeah,
Willie in a while.
Yeah, I don't know that he was doing anything this year, but so yeah, he's in trouble. And then honorable mention scumbag. So the fan who caught Aaron Judge's 62nd home run ball, he was offered $3 million to sell it, and he's like, nah, that's not enough. I'm gonna sell it at auction. So he sold it at auction for $1.5 million. So he lost $1.5 million by not taking that first offer. So yeah,
I thought when you negotiated, you're supposed to negotiate up,
yeah, exactly.
not down.
Yeah, he
got greedy and it backfired on him.
He thought. I guess he thought he was sitting on a $5 million baseball.
I was about to defend him because the world we live in,
right?
Capitalism at its best,
Yeah. But he made a poor he made a poor investment choice.
He did make a poor choice. Good on you, man. I mean, that's what you get for being a greedy bastard.
So yeah,
Willie's an NFL Network analyst. Current.
I thought that was the last place I'd seen him, but I didn't know if I'd seen him this year or not.
Ex NFL Network.
Yeah, analyst. As of the day, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
speaking, I'm just talking about Aaron Judge and baseball, and the San Francisco Giants, because they missed out on Judge. He signed to go back to the Yankees. Well, they signed Carlos Correa.
Mm-hmm.
So this offseason, basically, you had 4 stud shortstops.
Yep.
Trey Turner, he signed with the Phillies, 11-year, $330 million. Xander Bogaerts, he signed with the Padres, 11-year, $280 million. Carlos just signed with San Francisco. He signed for 13 years, $350 million. And then Dansby Swanson, the former Braves shortstop, he signed with the Cubs, 7-year, $177 million. The nice thing about that is his wife is a soccer player. She's actually on the women's national team, but she also plays for the Chicago Red Stars.
Oh, okay.
So they at least can see each other and be together more than they were when he was with Atlanta and she was with Chicago.
That's why he wanted to be a Cubby.
That was part of that. That did go into did go into his decision making process. But it got me thinking. I had to pull out my calculator when I saw all these contracts and why in the world I didn't push my son to being a shortstop. But those 4 shortstops signed for combined 42 years and $1.137 billion for 4 players. That's crazy, stupid money in baseball right now.
That just makes me hate the owners even more.
Yeah,
because,
if you can shell out that kind of money.
Yeah, if you can shell out that kind of money, and no wonder tickets are so expensive.
I was going to say, where did you see where it comes from? I mean, look at trying to take a family to a ball game.
You can't, man.
Or even, the TV deals that they're signing. I mean, it's just
it's gotten out of hand, and the owners are
stupid
clearly
money.
I mean, players have hated owners for over a century now. If you go back to the
you're talking about owners
days.
Talking about owners throwing money around. The NFL just sent out a memo to all their owners to tell them that, hey, this financial spending is getting out of control. Over the past 5 years, they've spent $800 million for people not to coach or be executives. So for these fired coaches where, they sign them for these big contracts and 1 or 2 years, then they can them, they've spent over $800 million.
Well, that's obviously they've had to cut corners, and they've cut corners in the officiating.
Yeah, the officiating.
The officiating is
and it was on full display this week. Justin Fields. I watched a lot of the Chicago game this weekend, and there was one play. He takes off on a run, and he goes into a slide. As he's sliding, Sue, Ndamukong, I don't even know how you say his first name.
Close enough.
Ndamukong Suh. He comes and hits him from the backside and just slaps him across the side of the head.
Now, come on, man. Ndamukong Suh's never been dirty.
Exactly. Now, I know he was trying to knock the ball out of his hand, but he wasn't anywhere near the ball. Not a flag one thrown.
And let's tell everybody why you're defending Justin Fields.
No, I'm not defending him. I'm trashing the reason I was watching that game was because he was my fantasy quarterback.
Right.
And then another play in that game, he took a sack where the defender came down full on him, no flag.
I want to say 3 people hit him in that one play you were talking about.
With a slide?
Yeah.
I mean,
it was
I didn't mind that they hit him because it was a late slide. But the Sue hitting him in the head, you're never supposed to hit a quarterback in the head.
Mahomes got abused too. I mean,
it's like they got double standards.
I don't understand the inconsistency of it all.
And that's the biggest thing is inconsistency. That's what I put right here. The officiating was horrendous and way too inconsistent.
Yeah.
And what is pass interference or roughing the passer? Pass interference.
It's all subjective.
Even my boys, the Giants, the final play of the game. The Giants DB's got his hands wrapped around the Washington receiver. Clearly pass interference, no flag. I mean, I wasn't mad about it at the time because we won the game, but it clearly should have been pass interference.
And what was the deal with the on the line, off the line?
Yeah, with McLaren,
I mean, it looks like he's asking, and I know back in the day when I played, you asked.
And the ref, and they still do for the most part. If you're trying to say to the ref, I'm on the line, I'm up or I'm back, it's kind of a gentleman's agreement.
It's not his responsibility.
I'm not lining you up.
Inconsistency.
Exactly.
Because there's a lot of officials that would line you up. That's the reason you're coached to ask that.
Exactly.
And so. The official's like, well, it's not you need to know where you're supposed to line up in your play. Yeah. In the structure. So, I mean, I don't get it.
I
don't get it. And the instant replay, how can the analyst be so wrong on instant replay from what's ruled on the field? Now, here's
which
my
game
solution.
Was it where the guy came down with his toe out of bounds and they still say ruling on the field stands? I don't think what game that was.
That was the Saints, wasn't it?
I didn't watch any of the Saints game.
I don't remember. I know what you're talking about, but here's the solution. Why can't what the officials looking at? Why can't that be on display for us viewers? And why can't their conversation with New York be vocalized so we can all hear it?
For us to hear.
I want to hear what they're saying.
Yeah. And it might get to that eventually.
That would make things real interesting to hear. Well, we don't want them to win this week, so I don't think any of that's going on. I get the conspiracy thing.
One last thing I'd like to talk about while we're still in the NFL. What was quite possibly the absolute dumbest play in the history of the NFL, committed by a team that's supposedly coached by the greatest coach in the history of the NFL. What the hell was the Patriots thinking?
I mean, you can't blame that on Belichick. I mean, I'm sure Belichick didn't tell Ramondre Stevenson,
if I'm Belichick, I'm running out there and tackling him myself.
I'm sure he didn't tell Stevenson, hey, lob that ball back to
we're in a tie.
Who did he to a receiver? What's his name?
Oh, it was the
I forget.
Jacoby Myers.
Myers, yeah. So he lobs it back to Myers, and Myers makes this terrible throw, and
he's gonna throw it back to Mac Jones. Like Mac Jones is gonna be able to do anything.
What's Mac Jones gonna do? And then Mac Jones gets just pummeled
by a former Patriot. Chandler Jones.
That was the most
idiotic play. I mean, you're going to overtime. Just go out of bounds, go down, whatever. You're not going to score. This ain't the Stanford Band-Aid coming on the field. It wasn't it's not that you were losing. You were tied. If you were losing, yeah, you do that.
Sure,
you
absolutely.
do that crazy shit. Try to come up with a miraculous play at the end of the game. But you weren't losing. You were tied. You were going to overtime.
I want to know. I'd like to have been in the locker room or in Belichick's office to see which Patriot got their ass chewed out. Because, Stevenson started it.
Yeah.
Myers made it worse, and then Mac Jones just made it comical. I mean, Mac just sat there. He didn't even get up and try to chase him up.
He might still be sitting there.
Yeah, he ain't gonna catch a cold if he gets up and runs after him. But that was a pretty comical ending.
That was boneheaded.
And it might have kept the Raiders' hopes alive, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
They're 6-8.
Yeah, it kept them on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
I think they would have been eliminated from the playoffs if they would have lost, but no, they're still.
And it dropped the Patriots down from being in to on that number one looking in.
Yep. Yeah, it took it. But there again, neither one of those teams are a playoff team.
No, but you still like to get to you still like to get there even if you don't perform well.
Right. All right. Well, stop me if you heard this before. Anthony Davis to miss multiple weeks due to injury.
That's funny because I thought about that and I was like, nah, I don't want to talk NBA.
I don't want
to talk NBA, but and how much did they give that fool?
And he's missed the last 2 years. He's missed more than half of the games.
Yeah, it's crazy, and he's still getting paid.
And it's sad because when he's healthy, he's such a good ball player.
What's that saying? Somebody has a saying.
Something about your best ability
is
availability.
Yeah, Anthony Davis, man,
that's a waste of money.
It is a waste of money and a waste of talent, really, because the dude can't stay healthy. Yeah.
Early signing day in college football. We're 2 days away. Wednesday, the 21st. Look forward to seeing who all inks.
Bama's looking strong down the stretch.
It's going to be between them and Georgia for the number one signing class. I don't know, unless Bama gets some flips. I don't think Georgia can catch them in the signing.
No, but there's the question is how what we what you feel.
Right.
we can see now like Texas A&M number one class last year, but what'd that get them? And they've lost half of that class already. So the key for Bama, obviously, is, because we've seen this in the recent past, that we may have reloaded with receivers, but not quite the talent and caliber receivers that we had in the teens. So hopefully what we've recruited so far are going to actually on field perform.
Right.
Now we do have a possible flip of a kid out of offensive lineman out of Iowa that
Proctor.
could be. Yeah, that's it. No, who's that?
Jaden Proctor.
I'm just kidding. You knew what I was talking about. Yeah, so that's.
Well, I knew you wouldn't know the name.
Hell no, I'm gonna forget the name once the camera starts rolling. I can't remember my name.
Hey, that's why we put it on the glass.
That's right.
Yes, look at the glass. Oh, I am Dut, and that's Kolby.
I don't know every time the microwave fires up, I piss my pants and forget my name. I mean, I don't understand it. No, that's a famous quote I like. I think maybe we ain't gonna have a show next week.
We'll probably next week we'll take off for the holidays and be back first week of 2023.
2023, but we can recap signing day.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna be pretty fun.
Yep.
Dion. What about Dion? What's his name?
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter went into the portal. I wonder where he's going.
Right, but now he's saying, he's saying all the right things. I'm not quite sure. I'm gonna take my time.
Yeah, because they don't want Dion in Colorado to get in trouble with tampering.
Is that even a thing in college? I think that's all that shit's out the window.
Yeah, no, I mean there is some because Mac Brown is alleging tampering on.
Well, I mean technically, if somebody's not in the portal,
his name too.
If somebody's not in the portal, you're not allowed to contact them. So yes, there is that. But I think we ought to wrap up this part one of week 20 or episode 22 and head over to the bar and taste that horse soldier and rate that shit. Cheers.
Cheers.